Howdy, yokes! Before we get started today, we just want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by you. We want to build this thing to be as big as it can be. More episodes, merchandise, events, giveaways, you name it. But we can't do it alone. If you enjoy this episode or any of our episodes, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/baconandeggs and consider checking out some of the great reward tiers we've got set up over there, or make a donation of any kind. We want to keep this podcast free and available for everyone. So if you have a couple of bucks to spare, anything goes a long way. And we could really use your help to make this podcast the best it can be. So thank you for donating, and thank you even more for listening.
Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs!
You got on that one quick.
I'm Tyler Carlson.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And we're heading back to the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
But this time we're in England.
So put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry!
And bow to your hippogriff.
Because we've got a special guest today.
For Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
It's another twofer. We're doing twofers all day. Our guest today is the host of the YouTube channel Whatso Videos. His name is Isaac Carlson, and he is like the nicest, most easy to talk to person I've ever met in my entire life. Like the whole process of meeting him in DC and then getting him on this show was like, hey, Isaac, are you free at this time? And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then here we are. And then, Isaac, what's your Skype username? It's this. And here we are. It was amazing. Isaac, who are you? What is your success? How do people get in touch with you? Etc., etc.
All right, Tyler. So on my channel, Whatso Videos, I discuss Disney theories and character profile videos to spread the magic of Disney to everyone.
That's super exciting.
You're a fun person making fun videos for fun people, right?
Oh, absolutely. Fun topics for fun people all day.
That's what it is. Fun topics for fun people. I knew I could get your tag right.
What a great, what would you call that? Like what part of mission statement?
Yeah, like it kind of like
Yeah.
the motto is what I thought it was.
Yeah.
motto.
That's a good one.
You only
That's
live
a good
once.
One. YOLO.
Yeah.
We're talking about Drake in here. Bacon and Eggs and Whatso and Drake.
Kiki, do you love me?
No.
Okay, so I want to run down some quick stats on these films before we get into
just the first
review.
film.
Just the first film. And then, Isaac, just so you know, I don't know if you've done all of your Pottermore quizzes, but about halfway through this show, we're going to ask you for the answers from those. So if you can pull those up while I'm running through these,
Okay.
that would be great. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was released on May 31st, 2004. That was 5,166 days ago, which is a long time. That just stresses me out how long ago that was.
Yeah.
That was like
It was a while.
forever.
It was a while.
But it had
a good while.
$130 million budget. And I remember when we were slotting everything for the bracket, we were doing it by box office. And I remember Harry Potter just being absolutely decimated by the other everything we had to choose from. I guess because it was competing directly with Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But $796.7 million worldwide is no joke of a box office. That's a good run. And that's what this movie made. And it got excellent reviews, and 91% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 86% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and an 82 on Metacritic.
Yeah, that's a pretty freaking high Metacritic score.
That is a score. But this is a film critic's movie, though.
This is an Alfonso Cuaron movie. Like
this is a well-shot film.
This dude makes real movies for real people.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few YouTube breakdowns of like what makes this film like the most artistic and like the best transition film of them all.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Mm-hmm. And
definitely.
it's shot really interesting. Like the acts are broken up. Like if you watch right where the third act starts, what the camera work does is it like completely shutters and then it's black for like moments, like almost like they were like time for an intermission, and then it comes back full screen and the third act starts, and you almost don't realize how weird the transition is.
Well, I mean, you definitely don't realize that the third act is starting because you're only 25 minutes into the movie.
That's not true. The third act, it actually is like surprisingly quick how fast they go through that whole process of Malfoy, Hippogriff, Shrieking Shack. There's another piece in there, but they do it twice, and it goes just bing bang boom.
I mean,
really
for sure.
quick.
But when they first came on the screen with Malfoy, and I was like, she's about to do the thing. She's about to punch him in the face. How is this happening already? It's like I knew the timeline of the movie, but it's going by so quickly. I do want to say on the topic of this movie, though, this movie, more so than any of the other ones we've reviewed, like that are kind of stuck out in time a little bit from the newer movies, this movie does not look 5,000 days old.
No, it looks really nice.
Yeah, this one has held up remarkably well.
It has.
Considering the first two Harry Potter movies did not.
And Any thoughts on that, Isaac?
Yeah, the first two movies, like the CGI is kind of weak, and the
Yes.
styling is a lot different from the rest of the films. So those two kind of stick out on their own, because Prisoner of Azkaban kind of set the tone for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's definitely like the first two could have been Disney Channel original movies, and the last 6 could be like real feature-length films.
Right. Like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone looked like a Lifetime movie. Like it looked like a made-for-TV movie. This still is, I think, the best looking one of the series. Because
I have a hard time.
it's not super dark.
Before we get really deep into our review and
we gotta do the positive
discussion
negative
of what the
review.
film looks,
Yeah.
let's do some positive negative reviews and a binary review, and then let's get into the minutia.
I wanted to say the thing about it not being or not looking 5,000 days old before I forgot to say that.
Gotcha.
Because I've been thinking that since yesterday. I was like, I gotta mention, like, this movie doesn't look that old.
Right. So I have a positive review for this movie from Jeremy Johns over at jeremyjohns.com. He says, Prisoner of Azkaban baffled me and completely floored me. It shows that Harry Potter ages with people. And I love that little quip there at the end, that Harry Potter ages with people, because I think it's so accurate. Like, I have a really hard time imagining in my mind what a 14-year-old looks like and thinks about if it's not just like...
Well, he's 13, so...
Whatever, 13-year-old looks like and thinks about if it's not just absolute raging hormones and literally nothing productive whatsoever. So I feel like this does a really good job. But I also remember when I was 14 thinking like adults definitely don't get what's going on in my mind. It's not just raging hormones. I really have thoughts. Real things are bothering
Well, they
me.
also waited a long time in these movies and these books to bring in the whole hormones thing. Like,
Yeah, it was way too long.
yeah, like the next one even, it's just, they're still super awkward, and like they feel like they're supposed to be afraid of girls and whatever.
There's a total, I'll discuss it more when we get to
Yeah.
Goblet of Fire, but there's, in the second half of the show, but there's I think that the Yule Bulb's a cop-out, and I'll get more into that later.
Anyway, I have a negative review of this, and this comes from Thomas DeLapa of Boulder Daily. I'm guessing that's Boulder, Colorado, their daily newspaper. This guy says, though Harry Potter's now a teenager, Daniel Radcliffe hasn't grown an inch as an actor. No charmer, Radcliffe is barely the British version of Macaulay Culkin.
Ouch.
Sometimes I like to grab the ones that stand out just because of how harsh they are on a movie that just doesn't deserve it. But this time it's particularly harsh on Daniel Radcliffe, who just doesn't deserve it.
No, Dan Radcliffe of the trio definitely did the best in this one.
In this one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
I actually remember noting that to myself. It was like every single time, almost worse than in Chamber of Secrets, every single time Ron or Hermione spoke, it was like whoever was writing this and directing this was like, okay, what's the most simple line I can give them so that they can just deliver it and be done, and it gets the proper exposition and that advances the story so that I don't have to have them acting on screen too
Oh, God,
much.
yeah, especially when they're talking to each other, which happens a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really
Anyway.
flex their acting. It's more about like just fitting into their character archetypes and just going on.
Right, yeah, it
Right.
definitely feels like, especially with the characters of Ron and Hermione, they're like, well, we have to put these two idiots in the movie. Neither of them really do anything, except for one of them has a time turner. And
And the other has scabbers.
right, yeah, the other has scabbers, but he's clocked out in the hospital wing for like the main part,
Right.
and he's got his leg broken for the other main part. So,
Well, what I do like about this, though, is that the first two are like Harry Potter and what's the best way we can write Hermione out of the story as fast as possible.
yeah, you make Ron hate her in the first one, and then you petrify her in the second one. But this time they're like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna beat Ron up. We're good. We got
Right.
Hermione through the whole thing, right to the bitter end. Anyway,
Even her, though, like in the book, and I know we're not going to compare it to the book too much, but in the book, like Hermione spends most of the book studying. So it's like, what's the best way we can make Hermione not a part of the story?
right, because she's got the time turner the whole time, and
Right.
So Isaac, tell me real quick, what is your relationship with Harry Potter? Like, are you a big fan of the books, the movies? Is it something you always sat with as a kid, or is it something you picked up later? Like, are you a huge fan, or did we ask you to do the wrong movie?
So I didn't have like a super close relationship with Harry Potter like when everyone else was going through it in elementary school and everything. During those times, I was still focusing in Star Wars and the original Spider-Man trilogy. But more recently, I've started to get into the movies and have a larger appreciation for the stories and the lore. And I've kind of connected to it like much later than most people, similarly to, and I've started to do that again with like the Lord of the Rings as well.
It's interesting that you mention the original Spider-Man trilogy, because this movie came out the same year as Spider-Man 2.
Oh, what a good film.
Yeah.
It also came out the same year as Shrek 2.
What a great film.
And I refuse to believe that those three movies came out in the same year, let alone the same, like, decade. Because This feels so much more recent than Shrek 2, which feels like it was a long time ago, and so does Spider-Man. Like,
that's true.
I would not. I saw that today because it was like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was the second highest grossing film of 2004, and I was like, what beat it? Shrek 2 beat it.
Shrek 2, man, DreamWorks figured something out there. They were like, okay, we can't beat Disney. What if we just literally use all of their characters?
I mean, Shrek 2 was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was the better Shrek movie. Like, if anybody's curious as to which my favorite Shrek is, it's Shrek 2. If for no other reason than they had that weird American Idol karaoke scene at the end. I still think about that almost daily.
I mean, that got an 88 on the tomatometer.
It's a great movie.
Tomato meter.
It's a great movie. So is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie, and this is the best Harry Potter movie. What the heck happened that year?
That's what I was going to say, is that all three of those movies, what I feel like they did was they, like, took everything that was great about the originals and kind of just completely built upon what was great about them and didn't leave anything out.
Yeah, except for that one scene in Spider-Man 2 where, like, Peter Parker has that raindrops keep falling on my head song playing, and Peter's
That's
just
Spider-Man
like,
3.
No.
That's not
He
3.
loses powers in 2, and then he takes the big bite of the hot dog, and that's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
The weirdest scene in all of movie history.
He was not the best. He was not the best Spidey. I'll say it. I loved the Tobey Maguire trilogy. I really do. I think it's excellent, and it is the second best Spider-Man portrayal of the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. But man, Tom Holland is perfect.
I like all of them. Like,
oh yeah, I mean it's a dumb dichotomy. God's love is big enough for all three.
what you got to remember, and I know that we're a little bit off topic here. We'll get back to Harry Potter in a second. What you got to remember about the original Spider-Man trilogy is that it included Spider-Man 3.
I know that's the worst.
You can't forget that.
Oftentimes, I feel like because of that, people forget Spider-Man 2.
I don't know if that's the case. Spider-Man 2 had that video game that was like revolutionary.
oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the first.
It was like an open world game.
Yeah, with like great web slinging controls and everything. People
And it was
still fawn over
freaking
that.
impossible. At
But
least
there
I
was
thought
cheats
so.
where you could play as the Green Goblin, which is like such a deep cheat.
Yeah, it's from a different
Like
movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that was the last time they had a good, like, based on a movie video game.
Might have been. I had Aragon for the Nintendo DS. That game was not that good.
Anyway, back to Harry Potter, which has had some questionable video game. Actually, this had a really good video game as well. It was also open world, and you could fly around on the hippogriff whenever you wanted.
That sounds like fun.
And sometimes you'd be walking outside, chilling on the grounds of Hogwarts, and a Dementor would just like come and attack you, whether or not you had the spell. That was fun. But yeah, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is personally. Oh, we got to do binary reviews.
It's
Yeah.
a 1.
It's
This
a
is
1,
like
yeah.
such
Yeah,
an
it's a
obvious
1.
1.
This is to me, this is my favorite Harry Potter movie. If we're talking about just Harry Potter movies, I still like Fantastic
So
Beasts
you're
better,
saying-
but this is my favorite Harry Potter movie, like by a wide margin.
What gets me is that at Christmas time, nobody is using the like where to get your Christmas gifts thing and saying fantastic beats and where to find them. Best Buy could make a killing off of that campaign.
Hey Siri, remind me to call the head of Best Buy tomorrow. Tell him Steve Jobs is dead. Picasso is dead. Now I'm stuck on Kanye West. Kanye West was in Virginia Beach this weekend, and I did not get to hang out with him.
I heard.
Yeah, he
why,
was-
Why is everybody telling me about this?
Because
He's
he
a
was in
human
Virginia
being.
Beach. Nothing happens in Virginia Beach. Like, famous people don't go there. It's just Pharrell. That's it. Like, Pharrell lives here, and
landmark
Chris Brown
case.
lives close to here, or lived close to here, and comes back occasionally. And I guess Pusha T, who was apparently a bigger deal than I thought he was, since Jay-Z and Beyonce are going to his wedding.
You know so much about pop culture.
Wow, yeah, I feel completely
Okay,
out of the loop.
so to me, like, Pusha T is that guy that comes in for the middle verse.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something before you go on about Pusha T. I've never heard of this person.
No, so Pusha T, I know who Pusha T is because Pusha T is the guy on Kanye West's song Runaway. You know the song, the bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Bing.
yeah.
That song, okay. He's that guy that comes in through the middle of it and does another verse, and he's just like, Ichabod Crane with that mother top off, which is possibly my favorite line of anything ever.
Oh my gosh. So
That's the only thing I know about Pusha T. But apparently he got married this weekend in Virginia Beach, and Beyonce was there. And I did not know that dude was important enough to have Beyonce at his wedding.
I mean, he did a collab with Kanye
Yeah, but like, I'm pretty sure
on
if
the
I was
greatest
like,
rap album of all time.
I'm relatively certain that if I was like, yo, Kanye, me and my wife are both going to wear Yeezys to our wedding. Do you want to come? Kanye West would be like, yeah, I'm there.
I don't think so.
I'm
Kanye
not
West
so
is
sure about
Kanye
that.
West is a nutcase. I love that dude, but he's crazy. Beyonce is just like,
my God.
I'm important. Anyway, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Sorry for that
A
tangent.
Our true passion in life.
I love Harry Potter.
This up.
So it's a 1. Anyway, it's my favorite Harry Potter movie. I legitimately think it is objectively the best Harry Potter movie.
It's really good. Like, really,
Also,
really
apparently
good.
critics agree with that. I did not know that it was an 82 on Metacritic and a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes.
82's nuts.
I assumed all these Harry Potter movies were like sub 80 or low 80s.
I thought they were, I wasn't sure until we did this whether I liked the Harry Potter movies because they reminded me of that book series I really like and they had good lore, and they were like kind of Twilight quality, or if they were like legitimately good films.
Well, the problem is people keep trying to tell you they're not as good as the books. Like, it's the constant narrative that, like, you can't like the Harry Potter movies because they're not exactly like the books.
Yeah.
They're definitely not exactly like the book. No. They're very, very different.
But they're constructed well is the thing. Like, I'm always super impressed when I watch them, like, knowing the ending and looking for all the foreshadowing and setup that they do, and it's excellent. They include the parts that, like, need to be in there to, like, make the story effective.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like, like the way they set everything up. I'm trying to think what happens in 3 so that I can draw an example.
So in this one,
well, I mean the Sirius Black, that whole ordeal. They bringing Wormtail into the story.
Yeah, they set that up really well.
They did. I've heard the complaint for Prisoner of Azkaban is that it's a whole movie. Spoilers, I guess. It's a whole movie, whole book about like Sirius Black and finding Sirius Black, and then he's kind of in the next one, and then in the next one he dies.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like Gary Oldman's in this movie for like 5 minutes.
Right.
I did not realize that. Like that Gary Oldman delivers an Oscar-worthy performance in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, he did. Very good. The adults in this film do extremely good.
Yeah, this movie lives and dies with the adults.
You know who's great? Alan Rickman. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman. It's just like Alan Rickman, that scene when Professor Snape climbs out of the cabinet. It's like, he had so much fun with that.
Oh, for sure.
Wait, what scene?
When he's the boggart?
Yeah.
And he just like slinks out of the dresser and is like staring menacingly at Neville but doesn't say a word, and then turns into he puts the hat on and is just like super concerned. I don't think it ever struck me till that point because I was like, even watching the movie, the magic caught me of it the first numerous times I've seen it. And I was like, yeah, that's Boggart Snape. And I was sitting there watching it this time like, no, Alan Rickman did that. Like,
right, like that's really
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman doesn't care that Neville doesn't like his character.
Right. Alan Rickman, the only one who knew how the series ended.
I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
My other
It makes sense.
My other favorite adult is Lupin. He's my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yes. I couldn't agree more.
I don't know. What is the dude's name that plays like actual Moody? Because he does a really good job too.
Oh, yes.
He does, but here's my issue with Moody, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Is how would Barty Crouch Jr. know that much about like Moody's mannerisms and everything?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's ever bothered me is that like he gets it down too good.
Unless he's just been like following him around.
Yeah, I guess. But it tells a little bit better. Even still, I mean, I've been following you around for 20 years, and if somebody was like, I need you to be Ethan for the next 12 hours, I would slip up and fail. Like,
that's true.
Like,
I forget what you sound like sometimes.
I've never forgot your voice.
I've always had this is a weird thing, actually. I don't know why I'm telling this right now, but I've always had trouble like placing Ty's voice in my head. Like I don't think I actually know what you sound like unless you're actually talking to me. So sometimes I'll go without talking to you for I don't know, like a week or whatever, and I'll be like, that's what you sound like?
That's what I sound like.
I've always done that too. Your voice is the only one I like can't remember.
I didn't remember that Isaac had a Midwestern accent.
I did. You're from Wisconsin, right? Or do you not mean to say that?
Oh no, I don't care. Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
See, I never hear it. So, but like I know
because you're from there.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing, is that I know there's certain things I say that are weird to other people, but I always feel like I'm speaking like proper English.
You did really well just there. Everything was totally normal. I didn't hear a single like oofda in the whole thing. You didn't call anything a bubbler. It was great.
Well, I can tell that you're from Wisconsin because you say it right.
Oh.
Everybody else says Wisconsin. And you're like, Wisconsin. It's like one like SC syllable there together.
Wisconsin.
I can't even say it. It's like you hear somebody from the state say it that way, and you know that they're like, oh, they're the OG. They know what's up.
Yep.
And I'm like, Wisconsin.
The other way you can tell if someone's from Wisconsin is if they can pronounce cities from Wisconsin. Because we've got weird ones like Ashwaubenon, Manitowoc, Eau Claire.
Saskatchewan? Is that Wisconsin?
I don't know.
I actually know how to pronounce Eau Claire because I have a friend that goes to school in Eau Claire.
Whoa!
How is it spelled?
That's where I go.
Because Eau Claire doesn't sound...
What, you go to...
No way!
Yeah.
What?
I do.
You go to college?
I do.
Yeah, I met him at a fraternity event last year.
Dang.
Is that a dorm room you're sitting in?
No,
you're at
yeah,
home.
this is home. So this is like
How do you make videos at school?
in my dorm room. So,
Oh, gosh.
yeah, it is a tight fit. There's not much
Guys,
room.
now-
I know that we're an
I mean-
audio-only podcast, and you can't see Isaac right now, but he's got this pillow behind him that says WV on it, and he's, like, matching it right now. Like, he's dressed the same as the pillow. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I like it.
Thank you.
It's, like, the exact same color, too. How often do you go to Culver's?
Oh, Culver's. Oh, Culver's is the
Yeah,
best.
that's the one thing Lucas ever said to me was, you gotta go to Culver's. Just over and
I've
over
been to
again.
Culver's. That's the Butterburger
Oh,
place.
Yeah, it's the
right?
Butterburger place.
You get Butterburgers. Like, if you're not from Wisconsin, you got to go
And cheese
all
curds.
on. Yeah, Butterburger with cheese curds, and then their root beer. Ooh.
Oh, I never heard about the root beer, but I have been to Culver's.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing. Where I'm from, I don't know if this is something just my parents did or if it's something everybody does. A Butterburger just means that they butter the bun, right?
Yeah, that is what it is.
Okay.
What's like-
everybody does that on every burger.
It's like Steak and Shake selling a steak burger, which is exactly like a hamburger in every way, except it's called a steak burger. Like, it's no different.
I mean, they do lay it on thick at Culver's. It's like, yes, this is a buttery.
It's like, is it
burger.
Wendy's or Hardee's that does the original char grilled hamburgers? It's like everybody does that.
It's Hardee's. You have Carl's Jr. out there, right? Carl's Jr.
Yeah, we have a mixture of both. It's kind of
I think they just have Culver's. I was under the impression the only place you can get a burger is from Culver's.
that's the primo burger for sure. But if you're going,
Anyway, enough about Wisconsin, more about Harry Potter, which does not take place in Wisconsin and does take place in England. Well, actually it takes place in Scotland, but whatever. That's where Hogwarts is. So this movie, part 3, doesn't include the Dursleys at all. There's like no Act 1 in this movie.
nope. It's
just-
pretty much get on the train. Not the train. Get on the fast night bus.
No, never mind, it's 4. 4 doesn't include the Dursleys. I'm crazy. Ignore me. Just rewind all that. 3 definitely includes the Dursleys because Harry Potter has to explode his aunt.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Fudge is like, we won't send you to Azkaban for blowing up your aunt. Which is, that's not what Fudge sounds like at all.
This is the one with
But-
the super game breaking intro where Harry's sitting there doing the Lumos spell in his bed, not at all worried about getting expelled from misuse of magic as a minor. And then not 2 minutes later, he's worried he's gonna get expelled because he inflates his aunt.
My understanding is that the Lumos thing isn't actually part of the film. Right?
What does that even mean?
Oh.
I think it happens outside of the story as part of the introduction to the film. It's like a production company title card.
You're saying like
I don't think
the
you know how
end-
this works.
Like, well, because I guess like the end credits start because it's like they say like I solemnly swear I'm up to no good, and then it like starts the credits. But I feel like this is different because we actually see Harry.
Right, and I mean,
Harry.
yeah, I agree. The theory is stupid. Like, I'm with you there, but I just need it to work in my favor.
Anyway, so we get a scene of Harry Potter doing magic outside of school and then being worried that he did different magic outside of school, like incidental magic, like accidental stuff that accidentally happens, which they've clearly said over and over again is like not a big deal. It's gonna happen. But then we meet the night bus, which I thought when I was a kid was the coolest thing, and I really wanted to go on it. There's like this
I did
bus
too.
that you had. I was just cool. I thought it was cool there was a bus with beds. I was like, that's fun.
I know. I was very confused. It turns out schools in England. Schools in England really do the sorting thing. Maybe not the same way that Harry Potter does. They don't have magic hats, but they do sort them into houses, and they have double-decker buses everywhere. I was like, I guess triple-decker buses that you can sleep on is also a thing, but it turns out it's just a Harry Potter thing.
I thought the bus was super creepy as a kid. I was like, yeah,
Really?
that weird thing that was just hanging.
The shrunken
Yeah.
Oh,
head.
well, you didn't read the books.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, no, so that's what I was. It's like it's described a lot more friendly in the book. Yeah,
Well, there's no shrunken head.
yeah. Well, the shrunken heads are just a character to take it away, Earn.
It's going to be a bumpy
It's gonna be a bumpy ride, and it's
I'll say one thing about the night bus scene is that was, I don't know if it still is or if they change these things or how it worked, but when I got my first television in my bedroom, the DVD I got was for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I put it in the DVD player, and I listened to the shrunken head talk to Ernie for hours, trying to figure out, like, I think the audio worked on the TV, but the video didn't for the DVD player. So, like, I could just hear him going through the whole process.
take it away, Earn.
Take it away, Ed. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Mind your head. Just over and over and over again.
When he counts down
was
to
like-
the old lady to
that
walk
was like
across the street.
Yeah. That was like the DVD menu screen.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell this isn't going to be the same kind of Harry Potter movie we've been used to. It's a lot, like, just the actual shooting is a lot darker. It's, like, overcast the entire movie.
Yeah.
Except for the scene in the forest with the hippogriff.
Because there's Dementors.
Yeah, that's the only time there's, like, happiness is when Harry gets to ride the hippogriff.
The Jonathan always talks about the last frame of this movie. It's Harry just flying off, and it's, like, blurry and awful and terrible.
I was thinking about that, actually, because, like, when the Dementors kiss you, it, like, pulls away from your face, but in this final shot, it blurs, like, back into his head. I was wondering if that has something to do with it, if that's symbolic. It's like he's putting it past
you mean like
him?
he's creating a new worthwhile memory?
Yeah, or something like that. It just seemed like it's going the opposite way. So maybe that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, after this movie, it's never a problem for him to cast a Patronus again. He doesn't even have to think about it. It's just like,
Expecto Patronus!
You best be expecto in this. It's one of, like, the 4 spells Harry comfortably knows.
I mean, Harry's not a super magic. Here's something that bugs me about Harry Potter is the adult wizards. Like, Hermione's the best of her year, but all the adult wizards seem to know how to do everything she's doing. I was a young person one time that slacked on skills I should be learning. Let me tell you, I didn't just magically learn them between then and now. Like, I'm still really bad at statistics. Are you seeing where I'm going with this, Ethan? You look like you're just chewing your tongue on this one.
No, I'm just talking because there's a scene I was going to talk about. Well, not a scene. There's a concept I was going to talk about for the next movie that kind of ties in with that.
Okay.
In that, like, I'll get there when I get there, because it's like
we get there when we get
there.
It's
the end of the next movie. So
known as The Incredibles is what I was just quoting.
What is that?
Oh.
I've never heard of that movie.
Incredibles?
Did it have a sequel?
It's so incredible. It does have a sequel.
It's a big thing.
If you're listening to this episode of Bacon and Eggs, you've probably listened
I've never
to the episode on Incredibles too.
We reviewed a sequel for the what movie?
Yeah,
I definitely didn't see it with both of the people I'm talking to right now.
Oh, Isaac was there. I knew that. I say that like I didn't know that. He sat like right next to us.
Yeah, next to Seamus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It's really well told, even though Act 3 is most of the movie, or at least it feels like it's most of the movie. This movie goes by really quick because it's well told. It's pretty well paced. There's not a whole lot of issues with it. It's really well acted from the point of, like, all of the adults and Daniel Radcliffe. And yeah, this is the first time I noticed that Tom Felton is, like, considerably older than the rest of them.
I agree. Tom Felton is older than the rest of them. Did you notice they replaced one of his goons? It was like Crabbe and Goyle in the beginning, and then for the rest of the movie, it was like Crabbe and somebody else.
Crabbe and Skinny Dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
I guess the dude just couldn't have been available for filming. That must have been it. Because both of the actors were there. Additionally, this is the one where they always talk about the Grimm. Who is that? The African-American kid supposed to be?
The kid who just says really ominous things all the time.
Right.
Oh,
it's like trying to catch black smoke.
It's known as an omen. A death omen. Like, it's not Dean Thomas, because the actual Dean Thomas is there in the Boggart scene.
Right.
But it's just this random kid that just keeps saying really menacing things, but is clearly in Harry's ear since he's taking 4th-year divination or 3rd-year divination with Harry and Ron.
And he's wearing Hogwarts.
And he's a Gryffindor.
He's sitting at their table.
Who is that guy?
I don't know if I'm going to see if his name is on IMDb.
It's like trying to catch smoke.
No.
Like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands.
Exactly what it's like. This movie's so old.
Yeah, and everybody's just like, oh my god, Sirius Black's the worst person ever. And then he doesn't end up being bad, and it's such a plot twist. I did my waiting. 12 years of it.
12 years of it.
In Azkaban.
I love that whole scene, though, with Sirius and Lupin. They're, like, finally, like, they're pairing together, and it seems like Lupin's the villain. Because I feel like they paced that super well. That you, for your first time watching it, you aren't exactly sure what's going to happen.
It's done a lot better in the movie, honestly, than it is in the book. Because in the book, there's a lot, like, and Ty can confirm this, he just listened to it, there's a lot of, like, Snape screaming things at people in this scene.
Yes. Yeah, Snape being like, listen, like, because one of the things that ties in is that, like, Snape has this rivalry with Sirius and Lupin and James and Wormtail. So it's like, Snape just wants to kill him because he hates him, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, nothing's going to confirm otherwise that Sirius Black is a terrible person. Because he already thinks Sirius Black is a terrible person.
Right, and it's like this whole scene in the book where Snape just won't listen at all. And it's super frustrating to read or to listen to. Because you're sitting there like, Snape, just chill out for 30 seconds and let somebody explain something to you. But he's just like, no, I'm going to kill Remus Lupin without doing anything.
Yeah, Harry just gets rid of him, and then they can, like, develop what's going on.
Yeah, he hits him with Expelliarmus, which for some reason, like, knocks him through a wall.
That happens a lot.
Because that spell apparently just does whatever it needs to do at this point.
I mean, you know, it's if you aim it at the wand, it knocks it out of their hand. But if you aim it at their chest, it knocks them off their feet, their other armament.
They're being disarmed from the earth.
A fun fact: the African American child, his name is Echo Quarty. He's an actor. His first role in 2004, 12 years before he got back into acting, was in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban as Boy One.
Can I just say something kind of funny? So like we kept referring to him as the African American boy, but he's British.
You're right, the black kid.
But yeah, I know, it's like making sure.
I don't want to be like rude, but like
in England,
black
I'm
guy.
pretty sure they would just call him black.
Yeah,
right.
I know. I just think it's funny because I step around stuff like that, so picking words carefully.
Sidebar: when I looked it up, the ads for Christopher Robin are all over the screen. This movie looks delightful. Just want to point that out.
For sure.
I'm doing. Have you guys heard of the guy Brian Hall?
No, who's Brian Hall?
He does like impressions similarly to Brizzy.
Oh, he was just on. He was just on their podcast.
Oh yeah. I'm making a full story video on Christopher Robin where he's gonna do the voice of Winnie the Pooh for the whole thing and explain it from Winnie the Pooh's perspective.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm super
That
excited.
is very cool.
That's cool. That was the first book my mom ever like read to me a lot that I remember. It was the first like Winnie the Pooh Chronicles. She had like voices for all of them. It was really cool.
It is.
Just as an aside, I have like really nostalgic memories with that book. Anyway, Harry Potter. What makes this movie so great? Is it just the directing? Is it the way it's shot? Is it the acting? Is it the storytelling? Like why is this one stand out? And also, there's a lot of people that don't like this movie, and like why do you think that is?
I think so this movie I think is for intermediate level film critic type viewers, like the kind of people who enjoy big indie flicks like Juno, right?
Just at me next time.
Right, like not real super indie type people, like not going to Sundance, but like will go to their local small theater to see the occasional big time indie film. And I think that for that reason, it's effective for people like that and up in film critic mentality. And then I think that it does what a lot of artistic projects, collaborations fail to do, and that is it plays to its strengths, and it just it hides its weaknesses well. So it's like, okay, crap, we've got Emma Watson, we've got Rupert Grint. They cannot act at all. Let's give them minimal exposition lines, minimal exposition scenes. Like as little as we can. Keep it as Harry-centric as possible. And then it's like, okay, what are our strengths? We've got Gary Oldman. How do we make Gary Oldman's scenes so good? Just whatever we got to do. I don't know. Put him in a scene.
Yeah, just let him stand there.
Right.
Yeah, we've got Alan Rickman. Let's put a lot of Alan Rickman in this movie. Let's put a lot of the dude I can never remember whose name is who plays Lupin.
No,
Let's get a
no
good
idea.
amount of Emma Thompson being Trelawney, just like absolutely being Sybil Trelawney.
Oh yeah, that's not acting. Like she became Sybil
They handed her the
Trelawney.
glasses, and she was just like, "Look into the tea leaves, the grim, the grim." Yeah,
Emma Thompson, I think, is an unpraised strength in this film. Emma Thompson, like she played her part so well. It's kind of like what you were talking about with Alan Rickman and the Boggart. It's like I didn't know it was Emma Thompson, who is like a big deal, recognizable actress.
Oh yeah.
For until maybe last year.
Yeah, you'd never get. It's like the same woman from Stranger Than Fiction, like
Right,
all those
the girl
movies.
the lady that was married to Snape. Or Alan Rickman in Love Actually.
The lady who was actually married to Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh, was
yeah,
she?
for like a long time. They had a really messy divorce. But they're still in all kinds of movies together because they are both really talented. She's in like all of his movies, even after they get divorced, except Thor.
She's very good.
She could have been in Thor. She would have made it better.
As who?
I don't know.
Natalie Portman's character?
No, just find her a role. She could have been Darcy.
Right.
Yeah.
But Emma Thompson, very, very good. So it plays to its strengths really well.
And Michael
The
Gambon.
storytelling and Michael Gambon coming in as Dumbledore. I think this is the best portrayal of Dumbledore on film in any of the films. Because Michael Gambon didn't read the books, right? So he's not familiar with the character. He doesn't really know what it's supposed to be. But he nails it in this one. And then down the line, because they have to shift the story a little bit and the end is so Dumbledore-centric, like they just have to rewrite his character so much that I feel like it's a little topsy-turvy. And it's not as good as this Dumbledore, where it's still Dumbledore.
Yeah, it's like in 4, he's just manic all the time and doesn't really seem like he knows what's going on. In 5, the whole story kind of like pendulums around his character without ever him really being on screen that much or doing anything. And then 6, they nail it down again.
Yeah, 6.
Well, and here's the thing about 6 is at the end of 5, there is the book. There's
The
this
world's longest scene.
the world's longest scene of just Dumbledore explaining everything to Harry.
Right.
And going through everything and like this, that, and the other. And then the beginning of 6, the movie, he's like, she was pretty. I'm going to take you to meet Slughorn now. I'm not really going to tell you. And Harry's like, honestly, at this point, I'm just along for the ride. But like, Harry knows everything at that point, and it's important that he knows everything, and he's in on Dumbledore's plan with Slughorn, and it's just like
he doesn't know what the Horcruxes yet. But
he doesn't know about the Horcruxes, but it's a departure from the canon in such a way that I think it diminishes the character. Like, I don't mind that they changed thing from the canon. I just think that because they did, this is the most accurate Dumbledore.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. And the dude just, nailed the role. Absolutely nailed the role. For having somebody come in and, unfamiliar with the series, had to replace Richard Harris.
He came in and he was strong, and still remained mysterious. Because I feel like that's the big thing with Dumbledore.
Yeah, I guess my only complaint is he's not tall and thin enough.
Oh, I like muscly Dumbledore.
I do too, but it's very different from the description.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of Dumbledore being abnormally tall, very thin, but still seemed powerful. So I never thought they quite grasped Richard Harris. But they got the powerful thing with Michael Gambon, but he's not super tall. He doesn't tower over Harry. Mm-hmm. Although there's one scene where Daniel Radcliffe is 18 feet shorter than McGonagall in this movie. Or maybe it's the next one. I don't know which one it is. So I watched these two movies yesterday, almost back to back. But there's one scene in one of these movies where Harry is considerably shorter than Maggie Smith, and it just looked weird to me.
Fun fact, this movie came out before Stranger Than Fiction. I just don't know what time is anymore.
Stranger Than Fiction was 06?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
Oh my gosh. Film recommendation of the day.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Will Ferrell.
It is about reading now.
Will Ferrell wakes up one day and Emma Thompson is narrating his life.
Oh.
Because she's writing a book about him, as he's living.
That's she really
doesn't. She doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know that she's writing a book about him, and it's a book where she absolutely plans on killing this guy.
Right. That's the genius of this best-selling author, is that in the end of all of her stories, the main character dies.
Yeah, and so it's going to be called Death and Taxes, and she's going to kill this guy and this character, and it's about Will Ferrell like trying to stop her, and in the meantime discovering what his life is about. And it's
very, very
just
good.
Absolutely.
What's it called?
Stranger Than Fiction.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay.
It's, I think, probably my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
It's also not like a comedy.
Yeah, it's not a
comedy.
Will Ferrell movie. But at the same time, you needed an actor like that is typically known for a comedy. You need that suspension of belief in the movie.
I went on a good rant there about Prisoner of Azkaban. Does anybody have thoughts they want to contribute to that? Any complaints, positives?
So I'll give some credence to
Credence?
No,
Harry Potter
to the fact that like a lot of people will say that this is not their favorite Harry Potter movie, just because I guess they think for some reason it doesn't stick to the book, which like this one sticks to the book better than most of them. Like there's not a whole lot of continuity errors here, so I've never really understood the arguments against this one, but a lot of people have.
Doesn't happen till the end. Well, I think
that's a big thing. Like Harry Potter hurting the firebolt until the middle or until the end. He's supposed to get in the middle. I'm like, so
it doesn't
really... He couldn't use it. Like.
Yeah.
Right. He has it for the dragon fight in the next movie. Is that...
That's all that matters. He's not going to use it in a Quidditch match until book 5.
Yeah.
I guess that would be my big complaint with Prisoner of Azkaban, I guess, is that, the beginning, the first 2 acts go really, really quickly, and it never feels like it has a bad pace to it. Like, I'm always interested in what's going on. But when I watch Prisoner of Azkaban, I just have to be aware that the majority of the film that I'm going to remember is going to be all time travel stuff. And dealing with that. And the annoying thing, especially about it, is when they go back in time, I notice that Hermione does exactly what they need to do without really thinking about it. Like, she's the one who always knows that, it's time to throw the rocks. She's the one who I'm trying to think of, we need to grab
she knows
Buckbeak. Yeah.
Right. It's way too easy.
It is. It's like, she's not even thinking about it.
Yeah, she's the doctor. And typically in my sci-fi and fantasy worlds, an easy complaint is when they introduce the time travel thing. Like when they went for the Eye of Agamotto with Doctor Strange, I was like, oh crap! Now you've got a cheat code, right? Mm-hmm. You can time travel now. You can do whatever you want. And of course, in things like Doctor Who, where it's literally the whole thing is time travel, is that's fine. Whatever, do your thing. Mm-hmm. But once you introduce that back door, it's like you end up with stuff like Cursed Child, which from what I understand, is about time turners, and and like you can get out of impossible situations with this artifact that, like, they say they destroy them all later in the book series or whatever, but like
if you can do it once, you can do it again.
I mean, I don't know if that's... It's been a long time since I've seen Prisoner of Azkaban, the movie, and I think I've only watched it twice, just because it really is...
But you just watched it.
Not Prisoner of Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix. I mixed these two up for some reason. The books are the same color, if that makes any sense. Like, they're almost the same color, like the actual hardcover book, so I always mix them up, the titles, for whatever reason. These two, and not the rest of them. Goblet of Fire is red and black. Which is very different. It's a weird thing. Anyway, I've only seen the movie for Prisoner of Azkaban like twice, so I don't remember if they show the part where the time turner things get destroyed, but she was very clear in the book to be like, they smashed the heck out of that cabinet full of time turners.
Oh yeah, they do. They do.
In the Department of Mysteries, because she was like, I messed up.
Oh crap, we got time turners now.
Yeah, I guess somebody said something after one of her editors or whatever is the story I've heard was like, hey, after book 3, you introduced time travel. Can you please kill time travel?
Yeah.
Like, you can't leave that unexplored or people will not shut up about it.
Well, and I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast, but as far as the books go, I'm sure I've talked about this, but I was talking to a local bookstore owner and she was like, 1 is flawed, 2 and 3 are perfect. They're the absolute right length. They're well told. Like, as far as a book critic is concerned, these are the pinnacle of the series. Is 2 and 3.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2, the story was just dumb, but this is a really good book.
Right. And then 4 and 5 and 6 are like insanely long and, just full of all sorts of nonsense you don't need. And just, and they, like, it's useful. It adds to the lore, which is really good for people like us, which is great. Mm-hmm. But for like a book critic, it's like, this is a waste of page. Like, this is just so much crap. And then I think in 7, she said, but I think when she got to 4, she was like, I'm J.K. Rowling and I can do whatever the crap I want. Don't you dare tell me what I can not put in my book. And she could, whatever. She's J.K. Rowling.
And
she
then,
can do whatever she wants.
6 was considerably shorter than 5. So I think she kind of got the point of that and was just like, hey, I'm going to write a pretty well written book. And then 7 is just like plot.
7 is extremely concise.
Yeah. It's like this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. I've got a lot of things to cover before Harry can kill Voldemort.
Right. Oh, crap. We got a bunch of Horcruxes we got to take care of.
I wrote this Horcrux thing at the end of the last book, and now there are like 6 of them.
Right. And Harry's one of them.
Let me see. Okay, so, diary, good, done. Basilisk Fang, great, awesome, bye. Let's throw some of these out here real quick.
Fangs. There we go.
This random locket that was just chilling in Borgin and Burke's for 15 years. Yeah, that's one. Totally. Hepzibah Smith.
But that's speaking of Harry Potter lore and us loving that, Isaac. I think we're getting to the part of the show where we learn about.
We gotta put this one on the list.
Well, I know, but let me just say the whole thing.
Okay,
Isaac, I think we're getting to the part of the show where we learn about your wand and Patronus and Ilvermorny House and Hogwarts House and sort of break down what that's all about. But before we get to that, we need to rank this Harry Potter movie against our entire list of Harry Potter movies, rank the villain in this movie, who I guess is Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah,
sure.
And then rank this against our whole list of movies ever. And then we need to apply a breakfast food that this film reminds us of, as well as apply a breakfast food to the first 2 films.
So
because
sorry, go ahead.
We didn't do that last week.
Yeah, we forgot to do the breakfast food last week. I have one more. I don't know if it's a complaint about the movie, but I have one more point I want to bring up. Mm-hmm. I love this movie. I think it's the best one. Apologize for that. I think it's my favorite movie, but like, this movie does not matter at all to the series. The entire purpose of this movie is to set up 2 different pieces of revenge motivation for Harry, because he wants to get his revenge on Wormtail for betraying his parents, and he wants to get revenge eventually for Sirius's death. Now, they could have introduced Sirius as a side character and accomplished this entire book in like 3 chapters in a different book about Voldemort, and I hear that complaint. People make that complaint a lot about this book and this movie, is that like, this is a completely pointless story to stick in the middle of the series.
I disagree. I think Sirius Black is extremely important. I think within the story, I think Lupin is way more important than people give him credit for. I also think if one of them is pointless, it's the one where Harry enters a tournament that you can not get out of, but you can quit each task of.
There's a lot wrong with the Triwizard Tournament.
There is.
Right, like you have to compete, but Harry literally could have gone in and been like, "Hey, Red Sparks, I'm not fighting that dragon," and then gone to the second one and been like, "Hey, Red Sparks, I'm not jumping in that lake."
Yeah, there was no danger at all. I guess he could have gotten eaten by the dragon, but whatever.
I was actually thinking about this with Prisoner of Azkaban and how it fits into everything. And the first 2 is kind of establishing the lore of Voldemort. So it's saying that his presence is still around and setting that whole conflict up for the next 7 books. And the second one is that his presence is so powerful that it can exist within this like journal or something. And that he has this pedigree that goes back years. But then this one, although it doesn't focus on Voldemort, what's kind of cool about it is that it establishes, like, it begins to establish the whole idea of the Death Eater, and that even though he's gone, there's still people out there that are interested in following him, and that then when that happens, like the Death Eater attacks begin in Goblet of Fire, then it's kind of like a setup to that like Voldemort's army is still out there.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I don't agree with the people that say that. I just wanted to put that theory out there before somebody responded and was like, yeah, by the way, this is why this book is pointless. Because I know that is a big sticking point for a lot of people.
Yep, fair enough.
Is that like a lot of this could have been accomplished elsewhere. They could have told another story about Harry and Voldemort, which like, I get what you're saying, but Jesus Christ, it was a nice, refreshing thing right in the middle.
I agree.
Before 4 straight books of like, Harry goes to school, Harry does a bunch of things, Harry fights Voldemort.
Harry learns how to turn like teapots into tea cozies or whatever, beetles into tea cozies.
I will talk about Harry learning things when we get to the next movie. Anyway, let's. This is it's better than all of the Harry Potter movies, including Fantastic Beasts. I just don't like it as much as Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, I disagree. I like it better than Fantastic Beasts.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying it's the best one. Like, if we're talking about where it goes on the ratings, it's the best one. I enjoy Fantastic Beasts more because I don't have anything to complain about. So I really like the books.
I think my biggest complaint with Fantastic Beasts is, and we talked about it with Tessa, was that like we loved all these things about it, but then what did we not like about it? Oh, the obscurial. So it's like, okay, so we liked everything, but it was bad storytelling. And to me, bad storytelling is not good.
Yeah.
I don't want to say unforgivable because I'm sure there's films we have towards the top of our list that are bad storytelling. But to me, that's why this edges it out, is that the storytelling in this movie is so clear and so good. The cinematography follows it so well. It's easy to appreciate as a good film.
Yep. Here is a problem we're running into, though. Well, okay, so where do we put Peter Pettigrew? Isaac, first of all, would you agree that this is the best Harry Potter movie out of 1, 2, and Fantastic Beasts?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Where do we put Peter Pettigrew on our villain ranking, which goes from Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face in Batman Forever and Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight?
I mean, he's like, it's a numerical scale here. It's a 1 to 10.
It's a numerical scale on a scale from one abstract concept to another abstract concept.
I give him like a 6.5.
Yeah, because there's a lot of story that happens behind it that like has nothing to do with his actual acting or performance in the movie, but like gives him a lot of villain strength. Like the dude successfully faked his own death and got another person arrested for it.
Yep.
Yes.
That's pretty evil.
That when you put it like that, yeah, Peter Pettigrew, he's flexing his villainy there.
Right, without doing anything in the movie, because you can clearly see in the movie he's just this weird, like, creepy, rat-looking dude.
Oh.
Sleeps in Ron's bed.
Well, and I think it's so weird when he switches back that he still acts like a rat. I'm like, this is so weird. And he like runs under the table. I'm like, okay, this is a low point for this scene.
This is something people keep bringing up, but like Harry would have noticed another man sleeping in Ron's bed with him on the Marauders map.
Oh, yeah.
No, people have made videos about this. I can't remember if it was you or Jonathan and Ben or Seamus that made a video about why Pettigrew wouldn't have shown up on the Marauders map. Do you know the answer? Because I don't. I haven't seen the video.
But he shows up in this movie on the map as a rat.
Yep.
I know. That's
what I'm saying.
That's the
Per
issue.
the movie canon here, he would have seen that. He would have seen another human being's name sleeping on top of Ron's bed.
My only thing is, my understanding, I think of the dorm rooms as sort of a room of requirement, in that the boys' dorms are up the stairs and to the left. I think everybody goes up the stairs. Like, I don't think, and I could be wrong about this, and there could be something that disproves this easily, but like, I think Harry and Ron go through the same door as Fred and George to get into different rooms to get to their dorm.
That's an interesting thought.
And I don't know if there's a scene where Colin
the movie,
Creevy is in
Dumbledore
Harry's
kinda
room or
messes that
something.
up,
Well, Dumbledore is Dumbledore, though. He can go wherever he wants.
No, but he's like, I hated these curtains. I destroyed them in my 4th year, while Harry's in 4th year in that dorm room. So.
Oh, that's true.
I'm under the impression that Harry and the 4 he's with are in the same room.
That's the thing, is I was under that impression too. Is like, you get one dorm room and you're there for 7 years, and there's just 7 dorm rooms.
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
There's 14 rooms altogether, and they just switch.
Right.
Like the first year's go in last year's 7th year's storms. That was a complicated statement. Anyway, there's some issues with that, but whatever. I mean, I don't really care if Peter Pettigrew shows up on the Marauders map. It's just a funny thing. We've got a problem here.
Fantastic Beasts is ranked extremely high.
No, I don't think it's ranked extremely high. I think that The problem is still that Thor Ragnarok is a better movie than a lot of these movies, and it's right above Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, I would think this just goes right above Fantastic Beasts.
No, because this is better than Return of the Jedi. This is a better movie than Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, this is way better than Return of the Jedi.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like I continue to have these problems with some of these, with Back to the Future, with Raiders, with.
How dare you take Back to the Future
Back to the
away
Future
from me?
is not that great of a movie. It's a good movie. It's a very
amazing.
fun movie, but it's not everything you're giving it credit for.
We're leaving Back to the Future, but I will move, and I'll do this for you.
We've moved Return of the Jedi twice now.
Watso, do you have your magic wand, Watso?
Yes. I know what that is.
The question is, so where does that put The Last Jedi? Currently, we have that ranked right below Return of the Jedi.
Here's the problem, Watso. I don't know what your thoughts are on The Last Jedi, but Bacon and Eggs is a pro Last Jedi podcast. We are team. What's the girl's name? Hope? No. Rose. We're Team Rose.
My liking of The Last Jedi was instantly liked it. As I watched it, continued to like it more. And over the last few months, I've kind of analyzed it, and it's kind of lowered a bit. It's kind of steadied off, but I'd still like it more than.
So I'll run down the top of our list, the part we're talking about of the list.
Yeah.
For you, Watso. Okay. So right now we've got The Force Awakens is number 1, Infinity War is number 2, Empire Strikes Back is number 3, A New Hope is number 4, Baby Driver is number 5, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is number 6, Back to the Future is 7, Raiders of the Lost Ark is 8, Return of the Jedi as 9, and then The Last Jedi as 10, Thor Ragnarok as 11, and then Fantastic Beasts is 12. So this is better than Fantastic Beasts. It's not as good as Thor Ragnarok.
So here's what we do. We flippity-floopity, Return and Thor Ragnarok.
So put Ragnarok in at 9.
Yes. And then from there we flip Fantastic Beasts and Return.
Wait, what? No. I'll give Return of the Jedi better than Fantastic Beasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we put this between Fantastic Beasts and Return of the Jedi. Or do you think this is better?
I think it's better than Return of the Jedi.
I don't think it is. Okay.
So we put it
I'm
under
cool
Last Jedi, above Return of the Jedi. Okay, let me do that real quick before I forget all this.
This movie and Return of the Jedi have a similar issue where their endings take up most of the movie.
All right, so Isaac, tell us a little bit about yourself when it comes to Harry Potter. Have you done all the Pottermore stuff before?
I've done everything but the Ilvermorny house.
Ooh. Are you opposed to doing the Ilvermorny house thing right now?
Oh, I can do that right now.
Okay, well, so tell us first, what is your Hogwarts house?
Okay, so I've got this weird thing.
Oh, God.
Pottermore sorted me into Gryffindor. So for a lot of people, Pottermore is law.
Yeah, we take that stance.
It is
here.
law.
All right.
It also helps us if you're
explain
Gryffindor.
what your issue is or whatever, what your problem with it is.
Well, the main thing is I've taken 3 different quizzes, including the Pottermore one, and I've gotten Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and then Gryffindor from Pottermore. But I feel like I'm the most like Ravenclaw, but I don't mind being in Gryffindor.
Says the guy who hasn't read the books.
Oh, I mean, I know enough lore. I feel very comfortable with the lore. I've got to stand.
But you don't read.
Well, I'm very diligent about school and like getting things done, and I'm very particular and rule oriented, stuff like that. That's why I feel like I'm Ravenclaw.
So I think that the stance that we here on Bacon and Eggs take, especially with Gryffindors, is that like if Pottermore says you're a Gryffindor, you're a Gryffindor. Like, Gryffindor is almost the catch-all house because you have to possess the qualities of multiple of them to be a Gryffindor, and it doesn't make it better. It's just like
You're Hermione Granger.
It's you're a Ravenclaw that is a Gryffindor. You're supposed to be a Ravenclaw that is a Gryffindor.
No, I love that rationalization. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah.
Yeah. So the theory is that like if you ask the hat to make you a Gryffindor, you're a Gryffindor. Like
that's a brave thing to do.
That's every Gryffindor has to ask the hat to be a Gryffindor.
Also, the other theory is, how were you at age 11?
Were you adventurous and brave?
Not extremely, no.
Neither was Neville Longbottom. I can't describe how much of a Gryffindor you are.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we're both Ravenclaws.
There you go.
Yeah.
We are.
So tell us about your wand, if you will.
I'm a big fan of my wand, actually. I got it's beechwood with a dragon heartstring core.
There you go.
12.5 inches and reasonably supple flexibility.
Reasonably supple.
Reasonably
what
supple.
What a British thing
sounds
to
like
say.
The description of a nursing mother.
Yes,
Is that what you were on your video?
Reasonably supple. Mm-hmm. There's just no good way to talk about wands, man. Like
no,
like There's just not. So what does Beechwood mean about you?
Okay.
Like if you click the read more about my wand thing, what does Beechwood say about you?
It'll be young, wise beyond his or her years, and is full grown, rich in understanding and experience. So it's
That's
like
cool.
wise.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the dragon is freaking cool.
I know, right? You're a dragon.
Yeah, and it produces wands with the most power, and which are capable of the most flamboyant spells. Which doesn't sound good with wands either, but extremely powerful magic can come out of my wand.
Good. Good. Very flamboyant and powerful magic.
Supple flamboyancy.
Supple flamboyant. Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
Out of his 12 and a half inch wand.
Oh yes.
All right, so mine, as we went over last week, is a Vinewood with unicorn hair. Tyler and I are both unicorn hair. It's the most common though, so that's not surprising. And I am unyielding flexibility, which makes sense.
Oh, I didn't even.
I've just been relaying
crap,
my
I gotta
own
sign
stuff.
in.
And so
I know.
So what is your Patronus, Isaac?
My Patronus is not as amazing as
Not
my
as
wand.
cool?
No,
Okay.
I have a chow dog. It looks like a pug.
Like a chow chow?
Nice.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. With the
a chow
black
chow?
tongue?
Yes.
Chow dogs are huge, man.
They
Does
are?
not look like a pug.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna click on it. Click on more because
I'm
Yo,
just
just
gonna,
Google
I'm gonna-
search chow chow. Like
You're gonna see a bunch of lion dogs.
Oh.
This is the image I've got. I don't know if I can share it with you, but I'm hoping Ethan can share it in
Oh.
our description.
oh, okay. This
yeah,
is,
they
this
are
is different.
large and very, very mean.
Oh.
No, I've got a chow.
Yeah, and she's
like the
not supposed to be
nicest dog in
allowed
the
in
world.
apartment complexes. That's a
I know,
banned
I
breed.
know,
They
but she's-
eat children.
But you know,
Oh wow. Okay, so I have
And
one
yes,
where it's like
before anybody
next
says
to
anything, I
someone.
know that they're great dogs. They just can be incredibly protective and don't particularly like children. That is like a trait of the breed.
but my dog loves children and is not protected at all.
Right. She's also mostly not chow.
She's mostly pug.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're like giant lion pugs.
Yeah, not as bad as I
They
thought. It was just
they are very fluffy and very large.
when it summoned the Patronus. I was expecting like Harry's is this big deer, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Stag.
But mine's like this. It was just like this little dog running around. I'm like, what? But now that I know it's a
No,
lion.
mine
that
mine
helps.
is a little dog. Mine is a West Highland Terrier, like a Westie, like a little fluffy white thing. Like
Oh, they're so
maybe yay large.
Oh my gosh. Mine's a fox, so it's also very small. The Westies are so
I should get one. I should get my Patronus.
Oh my god, the
They're
campaign is
they're
live.
so cute.
Oh my god, there's probably a cheaper dog we can get than a West Highland White
I mean,
Terrier.
probably.
That looks exactly like
Probably.
this.
Anyways, that's my Patronus. My Patronus is a West Highland Terrier, which is just a little itty bitty dog.
Just to give you an update on my wand, it's a elmwood with a unicorn hair, 12 1/4 inch, and pliant flexibility.
Pliant flexibility.
I don't know.
Does that
what
mean you're
pliant
biflexible?
even means. I'm not quite flamboyant, but I'm biflexible.
All right. So Isaac, would you mind doing the Ilvermorny quiz for us real quick?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Just so you know, the Google definition of pliant is pliable,
Yeah, which means bendy.
easily bent, like very
Yeah, like
flexible.
bendy.
Supple means bending and moving easily and gracefully.
Isaac, you're doing the quiz.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So what questions are you getting? I haven't done this in
All right.
forever.
It's would you rather hunt or heal?
Would
I'd
you?
rather heal. In RPGs,
heal.
I always want cure.
You playing the healer? You the lawful neutral or lawful good or whatever?
Yeah. I'm all about keeping myself alive the longest. All right, where would
you go.
you least like to find yourself? Imprisoned alone in a silent dungeon, locked in a crowded cage, standing room alone. That doesn't sound good. In the dock in court, accused of a crime you did not commit. On the deck of a ship as the tidal wave comes over the horizon. Trapped in the attic as the house burns below you. On the rope bridge fraying over the canyon. Lost in the forest at night, eyes staring at you through the dark.
I don't want to do any of those things for future reference, in case anybody's curious. That all
Same.
sounds terrible.
I think it's the worst one. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of up to you. Like, that's the whole
Yeah.
point of the question. Is
I
to,
feel like accused of a crime you did not commit. Because I feel like I just wouldn't want to be like imprisoned for no reason.
Yeah.
At least in those situations, it's like, it's going to be done.
yeah, you can
Okay.
just die. Like,
Yeah. Like the tidal wave, it's like, I'm going to drown quick. Oh, all right. I challenge authority. Nope. Other people's patience? Convention?
You're a YouTuber.
Myself. I think convention.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to justify these.
look
Like, you can do whatever you want for these.
At Ilvermorny, they let you choose your own house, but they don't on the quiz. But at the real imaginary place that is, they do.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Ilvermorny, Massachusetts.
Okay. Think of the question you would most like answered by a person or an all-knowing being or device. Which of the following most closely resembles the answer you'd like to hear? Without a shadow of a doubt, never. Very soon. It is impossible. Yes. I will show you everything. Oh, I like that. Only if you agree. If you come with me. No, I didn't. You are. Yes, you may. Only once. If you want to. Forever. Not for many years. I'd want to.
Is there
Show
a
me everything.
yeet option?
Yeet. Okay, back up. I will show you everything. That's what I'm about.
I just kind of want to have Seamus back on so we can make him say yeet a lot.
He wouldn't do it. I want to
Yeet.
hear Isaac say
He just
yeet.
did.
Does he?
He yeets.
How he eats.
He's been known to
He's
yeet.
been known to yeet. Wow, we're the same human being. Also, we're both wearing tank tops. I'm sorry.
It's very hot in my room.
Isaac.
I'm not sorry at all.
Understandable.
You have to look at me in a tank top. If you were in the same room as me, you'd have to smell me in a tank top. And that's bad.
All right. I often think, why did I do that? Why can't I do that? I wish I had done that. I wonder whether I should do that.
Shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
Oh my god, is Hagrid here?
Happy birthday, Harry. I love
feel
the cake.
like, why did I do that?
God only knows.
Okay. When will I learn to keep my mouth shut, to say no, to do things on time? The secret. Secret. That's weird.
Sounds like somebody who knows the secret.
Yeah, I guess I'll do the secret. I don't really say any of those other ones. What would you least like to lose? Reputation? Health? Luck? Dreams? Love?
You gotta have luck to lose luck. Am I right? Ah!
Ah, got him. I guess. All right, dreams.
Have you been sorted? Is the last one?
Hopefully this is the last one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you can rescue a baby or the only bottle of potion that could save 1,000 lives. Which do you save? What could save 1,000 lives?
Oh, okay.
So you can save one life, definitely, or possibly save
Or
1,000
maybe
lives.
Oh,
What a weird
But
situation.
the one life is a baby.
That baby could grow up to be Hitler, or it could grow up to be not Hitler.
it could cure cancer.
But the baby that grew up to be Hitler has already been born.
True. Maybe this is the Antichrist.
Oh gosh.
According to the Palmarian Church, the Antichrist was born in the year 2001.
Guess the baby, because it's for sure. I'm a horned serpent.
Horned serpent.
No way. What does that mean?
I don't know. Let's dive in. More about my profile. Okay, named after someone.
Don't care about any of
Yeah,
that.
just tell me what it means.
Who am I?
Who am I? Hedwig?
This picture on the banner of Pottermore.com right now of the actors from Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is great. Everybody's in their normal cool person outfits, and Ezra Miller is cosplaying Toadette.
You're exactly right. Jude Law looks like he's wearing, like, very, very nice pajamas.
It's exactly what Jude Law is wearing right
Oh,
there.
man. Eddie Redmayne is the coolest person alive, based on this picture.
Look at he's holding a wand.
He's holding a wand. He's got, like, an Eggsy outfit on with like 9 inches of ankle showing.
The more ankles showing these days, the
Cooler,
better.
yeah.
And it is. It's coming back. Okay.
I'm sorry about that in Wisconsin. It must be very cold when you're trying to look cool between classes.
I've never looked as
the
cool
most
in my
time.
life as Eddie Redmayne does in this picture. Holding a microphone in one hand, which he's holding like he's a rapper, and holding a wand in the other hand.
Yeah.
If you scroll down, there's another cool picture of him conducting the audience.
Giving
it
a
looks
TED
like.
Talk. I don't think he's conducting. I think that's a wand.
I definitely know it's a wand, but that looks like what he's doing with it.
Yeah, what? I keep
Also-
scrolling down. What the is Jude Law wearing? It looks awesome, but like it's definitely pajamas
It's linen season,
and
bro.
dress shoes.
Here's the thing about Dan Fogler is I'm gonna meet Dan Fogler and I'm just gonna make it happen.
And Johnny Depp's got the hair. Look at that.
Have you guys ever seen the
he
movie Fanboys?
No.
No.
It's this movie about this
Ezra
group of
Miller
guys
cosplaying Toadette.
who like travel to the Lucas Ranch to try to see Star Wars Episode 1 before it releases. And Dan Fogler is in it, and he's freaking hilarious in it.
I see him.
Dan
here
Fogler
now.
is Kowalski? Okay.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Jacob Kowalski is a great character. God, how do I get to be as cool as Eddie Redmayne? I gotta be hot first. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not that.
I'm-
like, he won a genetic lottery.
Yeah.
He probably didn't even know until he was
That dude is the exact size and shape of a mannequin. Like,
But his head is weird. He's got a weird looking face.
but people
But
love it.
he
He's got like
works it.
freckles.
He works it big time.
I feel like sometimes the most beautiful people are like weird looking, kind of.
Oh
It's
yeah,
unique.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Ryan
Oh,
Gosling.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
Ryan
I
Gosling
don't
is
understand the
traditionally
Ryan
handsome.
Gosling hype.
I do. Yikes. Yum. The man looks like he's photoshopped.
It looks like his face is like smaller than it should be. It takes up less room on his face than it's supposed to.
It's like they shrunk the me face.
Yeah. Now Ryan Reynolds, on the other hand, that guy just looks like a man.
Oh god, Ryan Reynolds. He's the
You
dream.
know who's weird looking is Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa is gigantic.
Yes, but that dude's weird looking. Like his eyebrows are shaped like the Aquaman logo, and
I don't know, man. He's a pretty rugged, good-looking guy.
Yeah. I don't know. He's just always gonna be Drago for me.
Yeah, he's Khal Drogo.
Yeah. Scary.
this is why I just don't watch Game of Thrones, so that
He is currently in this
When-
picture. I'm looking, and it looks like an older picture because he's not like superhero buff in this picture, but he's wearing like a ripped white T-shirt over a white tank top.
I'm seeing the same
Yes.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
only him.
people do that. That's totally a normal thing, though. People wear a wife beater and then a like white undershirt, not a ripped one, a normal one.
This
And
one
then-
looks like it was professionally ripped. Like,
Oh, for sure. It came in the
like
box that way.
that is probably a $4,000 ripped undershirt from Gucci.
ripped t-shirt.
All right, well, we are so far off topic that it's not even believable. What does being a horned serpent mean, Isaac? Did we ever
Okay.
discover that one?
Yeah, so Horned Serpent House is sometimes considered to represent the mind of a witch or wizard. It's also said the Horned
Ooh.
Serpent favors scholars.
Well, this makes so much sense. You're a Gryffindor horned serpent. Gryffindor and serpent.
I think it's the good explanation of it.
Fun fact, you just saying serpent made me realize for the first time that the horned serpent is a snake and not a lizard. Every time I picture the horned serpent, I picture like a lizard with horns.
Can you see
and
my
legs. It's not though, it's a snake with not legs.
Yeah.
You saying that just now was the first time I realized what a horned serpent actually was. Every time I've been picturing lizard.
My shorts today.
I can't
That's
see you.
the look.
That's the look right there.
Wait, what's going on? Do that
I
again.
went.
Dude, it's got to be past the
gosh.
belly button for sure.
It's way past the navel
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so
All
we
right.
have to talk about Harry
All right.
Potter and the Goblet of Fire now, and I can already tell you guys we're not going to do it justice. We just don't have time.
That's okay though. That's like, oh my god, we do not.
This
have
is the
time.
one pair of movies where I thought we'd run into this problem.
Well, here's the thing. Goblet of Fire has less to say. I mean, it goes really quick. Mad-Eye Moody portrays the character a little too well. There's a few other things I want to note about it, particularly it was released on November 6, 2006. That's 4,277 days ago, which is like 800 days after the last one, which is a lot. Had a $150 million budget, but it made it back. $896 million in profit worldwide. 88.74 critic audience Rotten Tomatoes, 81 on Metacritic. People actually really, really liked this. Some people say it's the best one in the series. At least that's what the critics were saying when it was coming out. For example, there's just going to be a little silence here.
Did you forget to get a positive review?
No, I had it. I clicked off the screen that it was on. Well, I had a review that said exactly what I wanted to say, but now I can't find it. But for example, like Joe Morgenstern from the Wall Street Journal, he's a top critic on RottenTomatoes.com. He says it's downright scary how good this movie is, and I think he's got a point there. You know, as far as binary review, I'd say this is a 1 all day. Do you agree? Do you have any comments to add?
I think, yeah, definitely
Ethan?
one.
That was really aggressively fast. I appreciate it, but I have a negative review for this movie. J.R. Jones, a Chicago reader, did not like this movie. He said, a marked disappointment after Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This fourth installment in the franchise is a 157-minute holding pattern.
I hear what
I
he's
do
saying.
too. This movie is a 1 for me. I would definitely recommend it, as I'd recommend all the Harry Potter movies. None of these are bad. There are a lot worse movies you could watch, and they're fun to watch. This one, however, lasted approximately 497 hours.
It was very, very long.
I checked my watch like 20 minutes in. I'm like, is this freaking movie over yet?
How does it start?
Oh, it starts with Harry waking up in the burrow.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, it's got the Voldemort perspective.
Yeah, it's got the
scene.
Voldemort perspective scene, and then Harry wakes up in the burrow.
Or
There's no Dursleys at all in this movie, which is a shame, as I love anytime I get to see Richard Griffiths portray Vernon Dursley. But
the
they're
perfect
not
role.
in this movie at all. And they wake up at the burrow, and then they have to walk all the way to the place with the port key, and then we meet Cedric Diggory, and then they go to the Quidditch World Cup, but the Quidditch World Cup doesn't happen on screen, which is stupid. Still mad.
Yeah, says the guy who was literally just complaining.
Okay,
About-
there's a lot of things
still
in
be
this
long.
movie that could have been cut shorter to give us 2 minutes of Quidditch.
That I would agree with. For instance, Ron's butthurtness throughout the entire thing got kind of old pretty quick.
Yeah,
kept-
well, you know, Isaac, it got really freaking old in the book, too.
I'm glad. 'cause-
When I was sitting there for pages and pages, like, just talk to each other.
yeah, it was like he makes Hermione talk for him first, but then he gets over that whole being mad at Harry thing, and then immediately switches to be mad at Hermione.
Yeah, because she's dating Victor Crumb instead of him, when he doesn't even realize that he's the one that's into her.
And it's like, I feel like they could have portrayed that type of love triangle without making Ron whine so much, and like focusing on that so long.
Well, and this movie has what frustrates me more than anything. It's the same with the book. Is that like, how old are they now? 14, 15,
Yep.
14? How does that work? Is it his 11th birthday when he goes to school?
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
That all adds up very well. So they're 14. At 14, you're old enough to like start, at least I was, to start like your real interest in girls or
the
boys.
opposite or same sex or whatever. You have some sort of romantic interest in some other human being.
And like J.K. Rowling, I don't know if you know this, J.K. Rowling invented the Yule Ball. Like, she wrote that into existence. It didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
And she wrote it, and then I guess like there's the character development point of them not going with a girl. But like this could have been Ron's first introduction to Lavender Brown. This could have been Harry's, like, the Cho thing is kind of interesting, but Harry and Ginny could have started here.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good things that could have happened, right? Or Harry and Hermione could have gone together.
The Cho thing in the book, I do, because Harry has to have reasons. Because Cedric is just a great guy, constantly helpful.
Cedric's awesome.
Like, does everything for Harry, and they really tried to make Cedric look like a in this movie.
I don't think they did. I think Cedric looks like a nice guy.
No. In the scene,
I feel like it just doesn't come off as well. Like,
in the scene with
as good.
In the scene in the maze when Cedric is like tearing at Harry's shirt to get past him to get to the cup.
Yeah, but outside of that, I felt like Cedric says, you know, like, oh, I told them not to wear the badges, and by the way, take this egg into the bathroom. And I mean, you can't deny Robert Pattinson is incredibly handsome.
Oh yeah, but Harry's supposed to not like Cedric. Like the Cho thing exists for Harry to not like Cedric, which is why they so awkwardly fall apart in the next book because J.K. Rowling was like, wait, this is a really uninteresting character.
That was something actually I never understood. Was like the whole, like, being someone who mainly just watched the movies and having this girl like pop into existence and then immediately pop out and then him suddenly end up with Ginny.
So
jarring.
In the third book, Harry has this like respect for Cho that he doesn't realize means he's into her because she's like a great Quidditch player and that's all he cares about. And then in this one, he's like, well, I'm still into her, but I'm going to take her to the Yule Ball. But Cedric's taking her to the Yule Ball, and then Cedric dies, and then for all of the fifth book, Harry's like awkwardly trying to go out with Cho. Like, Cho's back and forth on him, but she's also in love with Cedric still, even though he's dead.
I mean, Cho has a rough go of it, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, she started dating the most handsome guy in school, and then he died. Like, Voldemort killed him.
Yeah, Voldemort's first victim in years. I do want to point out, Voldemort didn't kill him. Wormtail killed him. Was it with Voldemort's wand? Why is the Prior Incantatum showing Cedric's body?
It was with Voldemort's wand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Voldemort, I don't think Voldemort had the strength to kill him. Also, I take issue with that scene. This is one of the ones where I'm like anti the change they made for the book or from the book.
You know, I think the graveyard scene is great.
No, just the fact that like
dislike about it?
The fact that Cedric has time to, because they talk about in the book how Cedric dies with like a smile on his face because he just won the Triwizard Cup. I like that death for Cedric better than him being like freaked out because he's in a graveyard.
Oh yeah, I see. I kind of like that better. Is that he would just come in and then he would instantly die?
That's what happens in the book. Is literally they land and Harry like looks around for a second and then he hears "kill despair" and Cedric dies. That's it.
Yep.
Cedric, and they talk about like Cedric dies with a smile on his face.
One person talks about it. All I'm saying is the Yule Ball, like, if you're going to introduce the Patil girls in the films for the first time, you give them like one line each. I just like, to me, J.K. Rowling, there was a better way to tell that story. I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm not saying I'm a professional best-selling author. I'm not saying Twitter, come at me, bro, Twitter. I know you're going to.
The thing is, there's still not like a proper romance for 2 more movies.
Yeah,
I know, which is
like,
so frustrating.
They're well into being 16 years old, and like Ginny Weasley has all these boyfriends constantly, but Harry and Ron are still like, ew, girls.
What are girls, right? You know how they travel in packs.
Travel in packs.
Yeah, I felt like J.K. Rowling got a lot of things right. I feel like she's
the
not
romance
quite...
thing was just, it was messed up for the whole series.
Weakest part.
She has nice skin. What an uncomfortable thing to say. Anyway,
I wish the love went deeper back into the series, but I guess there's nothing.
Everybody did a little bit better at acting in this movie.
Yeah, just a little
like
bit.
Ron and Hermione were bearable characters. Moody was great. The actor that
David Tennant was great.
that played Moody just killed it. David Tennant was great. I mean, the main cast is still great. Like, Maggie Smith is such a great character as McGonagall. Born to play that role.
I think the most jarring part about this movie is all the guys' long hair. I feel like when you like see them all in succession, it's always so jarring for me to see them all with like the early 2000 long hair.
Oh, and this is the first time we get Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great performance for 5 movies.
Yeah, he's really good.
5, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh,
Yep.
You know what? Math is hard.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a math liberal arts.
Yeah,
major.
Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort. What a great cast. Like, dude, that he killed it. He's terrifying. Just absolutely creepy as heck.
You know what people really don't like about this movie is when Dumbledore's like, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry?"
This movie could have been perfect, and Tumblr would still rip this movie apart for that.
Yeah, I mean, it very clearly says it's also like out of character for Dumbledore, even in the series, in the film canon. You know, Dumbledore, I feel like would still just be like, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry?"
Yeah, because Dumbledore is like he's always refined and controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's level-headed,
And
Yeah.
the movie gives you more opportunities to figure out that Moody's the one messing things up, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it still. It's like it's very cleverly put in there. Like when Harry first Harry's name first comes out of the goblet and everybody's like, well, he obviously did it, and Moody's just like, no way, dude. It's a very complex magical item. It would take one like Confundus charm.
Yep.
I'll tell you this: both Goblet of Fire. I did read Goblet of Fire before I saw the film. I don't know that I'd read Prisoner of Azkaban before I saw the film. I'm actually 100% sure I didn't. Both of them, you know, the prestige, the turn, the whatever you want to call it, the reveal was like holy crap pants for me watching the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Well,
Who
and
was
that's
Peter
the thing
Pettigrew?
is like 4 is just not that well of a written book because there is no opportunity to figure out what's going on.
Oh yeah, Moody's perfect.
Yeah, and it's a complete like when the Portkey thing happens and he's transported to the graveyard. There's no way you could have possibly figured that out.
No,
like not maybe
Yeah,
in the movie, definitely not in the book.
Especially when there's
And, like-
so much bloat in between all these like little bits.
Right.
There's
Like
no time.
if you're listening to the audiobook, each of the tasks in the thing takes like an hour to listen to.
Oh.
It's a really long book.
It was the first book I ever read that I was like, I didn't want to go to sleep because I kept reading it.
Yeah, I mean it's compelling throughout the book. There's a lot of detail, and this is what I wanted to bring up is like this in this book is where Harry learns to do magic. There are so many scenes of like Harry practicing the summoning charm, Harry practicing the vanishing charm, Harry learning the reductor curse, Harry learning the stupefy thing, how to do all the stuff. It's like very long scenes where other stuff happens, but Harry's learning these things. And I think that was a very good choice on J.K. Rowling's part, is to like say, okay, from here on out, Harry knows how to do some magic that isn't Expelliarmus. But that doesn't happen in the movie, obviously, because for various reasons, it can't happen in the movie because that would just make it even longer. And so all of a sudden Harry gets in the maze and just knows how to do real magic, like combative magic. And that was something I think that was lost.
I feel like it'd be really difficult to include that, but yeah, I totally get what you mean.
So this is what I was talking about earlier, Ty, when you were like, Harry learns, you know, how to do all that. Hermione knows all this stuff that's like above her year. And yeah, it talked about that it was above his year because they're learning stuff that the 7th year should know.
Right.
Anything to say to that or anything?
Oh, I thought you were adding on to that point. Yeah, no, I think it frustrates me because like Ron does really well in book 5 on his OWLs, but like they never learn magic. Like if Harry wasn't like, we're doing Dumbledore's army, they're just lazy students.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Like all of them. It's not just Harry, Ron, and Hermione. It seems like everyone is super lazy.
Yep, but thank goodness Hermione studies with them.
I don't know. They talk in the 4th book about how Harry's the only one that can't figure out the summoning charm, so he has to do extra charms work. So like everybody else, including Neville, has to do or can get the summoning charm.
Neville.
So, like,
Neville.
In the books, there
Longbottom.
is just enough like, hey, they went to class occasionally.
Right.
Which, I mean, and the 5th book is just Harry going to class for 8 months before he has to go to the ministry.
It's very interesting. It's a good one.
Anyway, I mean, I really like Goblet. I think it's really good. It's very well shot. It's not Alfonso Cuaron again. I guess they couldn't afford him for more than one. Or
No, this is what's his name?
Newell, who did just this one.
I don't know, but he got Chris Columbus got paid $15 million to make Sorcerer's Stone, just Sorcerer's Stone. Newell got paid $1 million to make Goblet of Fire.
Oh.
Mike Newell.
Yeah,
born in
They got a
1942. Yeah, he did a really good job for $1 million.
Yeah.
I know. Way better than Love in the Time of Cholera.
I meant to say this earlier when we were talking about the last movie, but like, Can you imagine being Chris Columbus? It's like you thought you did a really good job on 1 and 2. You're like, I'm the Harry Potter director. I made these movies. This is what it's going to look like. I know they fired me, but this is what it's going to look like. And then Alfonso Cuaron comes in like a real director, and it's just like, yeet!
Well, Alfonso Cuaron at the time
changed
had only made 2 movies, and one of them was
everything.
Like a pornographic film.
I mean, yeah, but he's like a real director, though. Like, he has vision. Chris Columbus doesn't... Chris Columbus makes campy movies.
Yeah.
Which I feel like made sense at least for the first one, where it would feel really familiar and really got into establishing the world for a broad audience. But then after that, it was like, let's dive into the actual Harry Potter story.
Let's make it for fans.
Yep.
Mike Newell did do 4 Weddings and a Funeral, which is a pretty good movie.
Yes. He did a bunch of good movies.
He did Mona Lisa Smile. That was important. Anyway. So Mike Newell did, I guess, just this one. And then they got the guy that's done the rest of them, I think.
Okay.
Is it? I have no idea. Honestly,
what is it? What is his name? Hold on. David Yates. David Yates has done all of them since 5, including Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, really?
Is he doing the new Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah,
he is.
That's like his job now.
Sweet job.
That he's the Harry Potter director.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah, like
right?
he did like nothing before that. He did some TV, and then he did Order of the Phoenix, and Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter, the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Deathly Hallows Part 2, and Fantastic Beasts, and the new Fantastic Beasts, and the next 3 Fantastic Beasts.
What a great job
Right?
to have.
Yeah. Just like retainered Harry Potter director.
His only film before this was called The Girl in the Cafe.
Goodness.
Well, I don't know how you get that job. I guess he probably just, and that's what I'm thinking is like, you, at this point, you probably like applied for the job, and that's probably why Mike Newell only got $1 million is because it's probably like, hey, we're just gonna pick the guy that wants to do it most.
Right. The Girl in the Cafe from 2005 had Bill Nighy in it. I like him.
Bill Nighy. Yeah.
You gotta clarify with these Chris Columbus, Bill Nighy types.
David Jones.
Yeah.
Do your fair death, Jack Sparrow. Anyway, so Mike Newell did a really good job with this movie. It is really well shot. It's a lot darker than, like cinematically, a lot darker than Prisoner of Azkaban, and that just sets forth a trend to the point where by the time Deathly Hallows Part 2 comes out, you can't even see anything. It's just a black screen full of shouting.
It's just so dark.
Everyone looks gray.
Yeah, it's
everyone looks
They talk about how in
gray.
big blockbuster movies, there's like everything's blue and orange. Nope, from here on out, it's just blue. Everything is just shades of blue.
It's all serious. No.
What I love is the marching band that starts playing when Cedric comes back, when Harry comes back with Cedric's dead body. They start playing this joyous fanfare.
And then it's one person notices. It's the girl contestant.
Yeah.
I forgot her name.
Fleur Delacour.
Fleur Delacour.
And everyone's like, what?
Yeah, Cedric's real dead. There's not a ton to say about this movie. They did what they had to do. There's a bunch of like big hitting points in this movie they had to hit. This book actually has a pretty progressive story where it's like stuff happens and then there's a task, and then stuff happens and then there's a task, and stuff happens and then there's a task, and then he fights Voldemort.
Yeah.
It's not just 8 months of school and then Voldemort. Hello, children, time for death.
Have you prepared for the Quidditch match against the Keys?
Right. It's like there's stuff constantly going on. There's a big fight between Harry and Ron, and all of it happens in the book. They got down like with a whiteboard list of this is what we have to do in this movie, and all of it's done. It's a very plot heavy movie that moves you from the early part of the series into the next part of the series.
Yeah. It's Prisoner of Azkaban set the tone, but Goblet of Fire is the turning point of the story.
Right. Voldemort
back. Has officially returned.
It's Hermione even says it's like things have changed.
She's like everything's going to be different, and then pause, and then Harry just goes, "Yes."
That scene is so poorly acted.
My god!
Like I don't think like after the scene where Cedric dies and they do all that, everything just gets like light and cheery again, and Hermione's like, Hermione is literally smiling, being like, everything's different now.
And Harry's like, yes. And then they walk forward onto the balcony, and there's people just like waving in slow motion, and then the carriage flies by, and you see the ship dip under the water.
I didn't understand that ending.
David Jones.
I feel like there could have been a stronger ending to be like more like an Empire wrap up, where it's like this is not good.
No, after like once they cut from that scene where Dumbledore is interrogating Moody, and it's just like an uncomfortable 15 seconds of silence looking at Dumbledore's face before he goes like, "We experienced a really terrible thing." And
he's like sitting back in his chair like the Jarl of Westeros.
Right, it's like they got a new director. It's like a whole new movie.
What is going on at this ending? Why is Dumbledore not like successfully consoling this crowd?
Why is he not sad? Yeah, he's just sitting there like Theoden and Rohan.
He looks bored. Yeah.
You have no power here, Gandalf. Oh man, it's such a weird ending because up until the movie, it's very fast paced, but also very, very slow at the same time. It's like you feel like a lot's happening, but no time passes.
True, and it's all random stuff. It's like not always connected to the overall plot.
Right. Hey Siri, tell Alexa to tell Google to tell Seamus to tell Ron to tell Pavarotti to tell Hermione that Hagrid is looking for Harry.
Yeah.
Don't make me repeat that again.
I felt so bad for her in that scene where Ron's just standing there and he's just super awkward and like won't talk to Harry.
That's the other thing. Is that really what 14-year-old guys do? Like,
oh my god,
give
Siri is
silent treatment.
Siri's on my phone behind me, sitting on my bed, just like yapping away.
Tell who to tell what? I don't really remember being 14 that well. I know Ethan and I were friends and we fought about stuff. I have no idea if it was like long periods of not talking to each other or not.
Holy crap!
14?
My favorite scene in this movie. Speaking of the end of this fight, my favorite scene in this movie is when Harry comes back from the task with the egg and he's in Gryffindor common room partying and everybody's super happy. They like Fred and George have him lifted up on his shoulders and he opens the egg and it just screams at him. That scene was shot so perfectly.
And then Ron's like, "What the bloody hell was that?"
And George or Fred, I don't know which one, makes a really uncomfortable comment. It's like, "All right, you'll go to bed now. This is gonna be bad enough without you staring at them."
I don't know. I did like it though. It's not the best film in the series. It's good though. I think it's better than the first two.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I see. When I went into rewatching this for the review, all I really remembered was that he does these 3 tasks and Voldemort comes in the end, so I was just waiting to the end. But watching it to comb through it, I noticed that there were so many more details and so much more interesting plot that tied it all together, and I came out of it feeling like it was such a better movie than I remembered. So being older watching this movie, I appreciated the movie so much more.
I will definitely agree with that, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail that goes into this one. I'll agree.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm willing to. You guys ready to rank?
Yeah, we can rank.
What do you think of Voldemort as a villain?
He's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just terrifying.
He really does come back though, and he really does kill Cedric. I think in this particular film, he does pretty well. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10.
I'll agree with that.
I think that's a fair rating. In this one especially, because other ones, I mean, sometimes he dips in his theatrics and everything, but this one, he seems the most focused on being intimidating and evil.
Yeah, I'll agree.
So where does this go on the Harry Potter ranking?
I think it goes below Fantastic Beasts.
I'll agree with that.
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna put it above Fantastic Beasts. I feel like
interesting.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Beasts gets muddled and stuff. I don't know. I don't totally groove with the whole story of Fantastic Beasts. It doesn't feel super necessary. I really enjoy the lore and the creatures that go along with it, but I feel like I enjoy Goblet of Fire more.
Interesting. Yeah, I just think Fantastic Beasts is more fun to watch. I enjoy watching a little more, and I think it tells the story a little bit better.
That's fair enough.
Like I think that's the part this one sort of lacked was the storytelling.
Yeah,
we're back on storytelling.
That is true. Fantastic Beasts is a fun film. Where Goblet of Fire, there's interesting plot points, but it doesn't execute them the best.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. It's a good movie. It's fun to watch, but it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, it is a stew of stuff to go through.
Fair enough.
I agree.
So where do we want to put it? Are we going above or below?
We're going below Fantastic Beasts.
Cool.
I've heard
that gives
both
us
sides.
a lot of real estate to work with for ranking it overall.
And that honestly is where the argument was coming in. Because if it's better than Fantastic Beasts, then it's like top 10. And if it's not, then it's
okay. So we've got
above 30.
Fantastic Beasts ranked at 12 and Sorcerer's Stone ranked at 30, with the entire MCU pretty much between them.
Not the entire
Close.
MCU,
Okay.
but honestly, not much of the MCU.
I don't know. It's got Black Panther,
let's
Iron
see.
Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Avengers, Doctor Strange, Captain America: The First Avenger, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Ant-Man. That's quite a few MCU movies.
I'm gonna pick something that's not Marvel to
pair it with.
See to not necessarily pair it with. I just want to know above or below from Isaac's perspective. Is this movie better than the Lego movie? And that's a stark comparison. I'll give you that. But I mean, they're kind of the same. The Lego movie towards the end, Voldemort shows up. I mean, Voldemort's in the Lego movie, but like Will Ferrell shows up and he's kind of Voldemort.
I'd say that this is worse than the Lego movie.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Yeah, I love the Lego movie.
I don't think it's as good as Guardians of the Galaxy either.
Okay, so let me drop down then. Solo, a Star Wars story.
I think it's worse than Solo.
I kind of do
Okay,
too.
I love Solo, so I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. Yeah,
It's better than Ready Player One.
I haven't seen that movie.
Ready Player One has some similar issues, but I think this is a more effective piece of storytelling than Ready Player One.
they're pretty parallel in terms of story, actually.
Yeah, there's 3 tasks and a big fight.
Yeah.
That's a good spot for it. So do you want to put it above or below? What's your instinct?
My instinct is
Okay,
above.
so
Ready
right
Player
above
One.
Ready Player One.
Well, there's Captain America: The First Avenger and Doctor Strange in there as well. I think those are both probably
Yeah.
better. So right above Ready Player One is fine. But I just wanted to give the conversation an
I'm with
opportunity.
it. I just think that they're now that you brought that parallel up. Now that you brought that parallel up, I do think it kind of belongs there, right there with that one. I can sort of talk sometimes.
You're a robot.
Yes, you guys have finally figured me out. You can, if you don't want me to find out, you have to talk in CAPTCHA.
Pick every picture that has a Jedi Master in it.
HP 4. Okay. Cool. Right above Ready Player One. All right, now, guys, we have to give breakfast foods to all 4 of these movies because we forgot to do it 20 minutes ago.
Okay, so Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone breakfast food. I think orange juice is involved.
Okay. Why?
I think it's like a simple breakfast, like 2 sausage links, two eggs, and then scrambled with cheese, of course, and then because actually it's not a simple breakfast. It's actually it's a platter breakfast. Okay, because Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, like one of the most magical moments in the whole movie has to do with food in the first place, right? So I feel like, when the food shows up on the tables and that's like, oh my God, how did they even make that happen? Which is like, it's called editing, okay?
Look it up.
But to me, that's one of the most magical parts of the movie. So I'm looking at like a large scale family style buffet, maybe homestead, or what's the place called? The home place?
Yeah, that's a very regional specific thing to bring up.
But like a family style bed and breakfast sort of breakfast. Maybe not sausage and gravy and grits. It's not southern.
Yeah.
It's a traditional English breakfast.
Pretty sure we already gave a full English breakfast to something else.
That's okay. You can apply the breakfast
Okay.
over and over again. Bacon and eggs is reserved, I believe, for Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I think so. So what is Chamber of Secrets then? It's a little bit damp.
Yeah.
It is damp. That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know, like petrified eel. Is that a type of breakfast?
Petrified eel. $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? A basilisk.
I don't know. Watso, I'm not gonna ask you, Ethan. Do you have a breakfast for Chamber of Secrets? I do feel like it's got some weird
It's like
bull penis.
it's like
or
eggs
something.
and toast, but like the egg juice.
No, there's a
has
a
like
mystery
run
meat.
onto the
There's
toast.
Yeah, I was thinking, is it kind of runny?
No.
Super runny.
It is definitely runny eggs. I mean, to me, the basilisk is so important. You've got to incorporate that. It's like, what's one of those weird meats that they always have on like Good Mythical Morning or something?
I don't know.
Like fried eel or something.
I've
like that.
had fried eel on
Unagi.
sushi before.
It's called unagi.
Oh,
Do people eat that at
I don't
breakfast
think
time?
so. This can be breakfast sushi. That's fine.
sure.
It's like
I will
rice and
grant
eggs
it.
and eel.
That's a breakfast.
Yeah. So I think, and I mean that just encapsulates. It's not your everyday film. It's got a giant snake in it, and that's
Like way too much eel in this sushi.
like a full-sized eel in the chopped sushi roll.
I've never eaten slug before.
Oh, it could have slug. Flesh-eating slug repellent.
That is what Hagrid's in Nocturne Alley for.
Now, Isaac, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay.
What is this for breakfast?
What is this for
I feel like it's a hungry breakfast. I know the film's very good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let somebody else say something. I've got something in mind, but I want somebody else to give me an answer before I say it.
I'd say it's like a McGriddle sandwich. It's
A McGriddle
Yes.
sandwich. Defend that.
So the McGriddle it's got everything on it. It's got the sausage, it's got the cheese, it's got the eggs, and it's got the pretty much a pancake as the buns. So it's delicious
Yeah.
and very filling. Well, not filling, high caloric intake. You're getting a lot of Harry Potter. It's really good. But when you're done with it, you're still not full, so you know that more is to come. More is to coming. So this is it's got everything.
That's a good point. I think that's a good point. My only retort would be maybe a Taco Bell breakfast quesadilla.
Ooh.
And I say that originally what I was going to say was like unbuttered toast, right? Because I was just thinking about prison food. Like the worst possible prison food, like maggot-eaten unbuttered toast. But now I'm thinking, you made a good point with it gives you everything you need, but Taco Bell breakfast, not only does it give you everything you need, but then you revisit it a few hours later in the restroom.
It lingers a little bit longer.
It lingers. And it lingers. Not only that, but you re-experience the last 3 hours of your life.
See, now I'm just stuck on that scene from Lord of the Rings where they're talking about whether or not they can eat the hobbits. The orcs, and the one's just like, we ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. And the other was just like, yeah, let's have some meat.
Ethan, I need you to give me a breakfast for Goblet of Fire.
I can't think about anything but that dude going, man flesh.
You know, there's something to be said about man flesh.
Let me tell you what
nice
Goblet of Fire
hearty...
is not. Is like a breakfast quesadilla with a man flesh.
Not a breakfast quesadilla, but quite possibly grilled hobbits.
Grilled hobbits. You can boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
You gotta level with me here. There is a stew that a small human being, enters and then exits much larger.
Is that what it is for like Voldemort's cereal? Voldios?
Okay, that was kind of funny. Each time they added something, they would do a direct shot over it and do like slow-mo of it like splashing.
Oh my god. Such an uncomfortable scene. Also, what kind of knife is that can just slice straight through like arm bone?
Yeah! He was just like, alright, I gotta do a little sacrifice. I'm like, oh yeah, drop of blood. Nope, there goes his whole hand.
The whole arm.
Man flesh.
Man flesh. So, I think man flesh is a great answer.
Jesus Christ. Oh god.
In milk, of course.
In milk.
Voldios, like I said.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
Well, we lost control of that one pretty quick.
Yeah.
So let's see, we've ranked everything.
Ooh, man.
Everything is a wrap.
All right, I think we're good. Anybody got any last thoughts about anything?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, man.
Isaac, where do people find you? Thank you so much for joining us on Bacon and Eggs. I do pray that if we ever ask again, you'd be willing to return because this has been a blasty blast.
Mm-hmm. It was a pleasure to be on. If you want to find me, main places on YouTube, find me at Watso Videos. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter. So those are all great places.
And Twitter. How long have you been on Twitter?
I've not extremely long. And the one thing interesting is like I made all these social media channels, but I haven't been promoting them since the beginning of my channel.
Right.
So they're a little tiny, but I promise I do good stuff. I do good stuff.
That is the main difference
stuff.
between you and Seamus. Is that like you guys both have a similar subscriber count, but every single time Seamus is just like, follow me on all my social medias.
Mm-hmm. It's Gorman Seamus 4, Seamus Gorman.
It's
4.
Seamus Gorman 4 is his Instagram, and Gorman Seamus is his Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Gorman Seamus, follow me on Bandcamp, follow me on SoundCloud.
He is just a relentless plugger.
Which is great. Which is super de duper. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode of of Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast.
Wait, Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast with new episodes every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify.
The very same. Thank you so much for listening. And this is a call to action. What that is when I say, you know what, listeners, we appreciate you. It would really be great if you could do this. And I'm just going to ask for what I want right here. Listeners, if you could tell a friend about this podcast this week. We're trying to grow, trying to get bigger, and we just really want to make this thing as big as it can possibly be. So I am asking you to tell a friend about the podcast and then, tweet at us about who you told and, I don't know, do something, whatever. Our Twitter's at Baconandeggs23. Figure something out. Find a creative way to tell us how you told somebody about the podcast, and I will will shoot a personal Instagram video saying thank you so much for telling so-and-so about the podcast, and I'll send it to you. I'm not going to post it to my story, but we'll discuss the whole thing. We'll have a DM going on Instagram. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm Tyler Carlin. He's Ethan Edgehill. That's Isaac Carlson from Watso Videos, which sounds like an entire studio, but it's actually just one person. But with the quality of content they put out, it looks like an entire studio. He's so good. What else?
You can buy Bacon and Eggs hats on...
You can buy our merchandise. Holy crap. We actually sell merch. You can buy our merch at whatever the link is in the description of this, wherever you're listening to it or whatever. The description section of that website. You're a smart person. You found
It may
podcasts.
have changed since we talked about it, because you may be listening to this in 10 years, but we probably still have merch up.
We definitely still have merch up. Additionally, what's new right now? We just got a P.O. Box. Have you ever wanted to send something to Bacon and Eggs? Well, now you can. P.O. Box 3025, Roanoke, Virginia 24015. You can send us whatever you want. All of this episode, I've been playing with this pillow. It sounds like this.
It's some real
It has been making me
Bacon
so
and Eggs
happy.
ASMR content right there.
We're breaking into the ASMR scene. That's
Sound of me
the
rubbing
next
a plastic
phase.
fork against the microphone.
I hope you cool along with
That's
that.
the next phase of Bacon and Eggs.
Say it again?
But we
You better cool along when you're rubbing that fork. Good fork.
Oh man, this episode's been a blast. I'm having a lot of fun right now. All right, guys, I think
As am
that's
I.
everything for this week. Our logos and graphics are done by Graphite, and you can find them on Instagram at graphite.vmb. And the artwork is super great, and we're really appreciative to them for doing it. And I think that's everything we talk about at the end of the podcast. But I'm just going to decide it's everything we talk about at the end of the podcast. I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin. Him over there in Wisconsin has been Isaac Carlson. And until next week, arrivederci.
Avada Kedavra!